Types of companies. So as per the classification, there are 5 types. One is on the basis of incorporation. Here there are 2 types. Then on the basis of number of members, there are 3 types given to you here. Then on the basis of reliability of your members, 3 types. On the basis of control, there are 2 types. And other types, there are around 7 types of different companies. So we will study all these companies one by one. So let's begin. The first part is A, on the basis of incorporation. Here there are 2 types of companies. One is statutory company and second is registered company. Here in the first part, these companies are incorporated by a special act passed by the central or state legislative. For example, Reserve Bank of India, State Bank of India, Unit Trust of India, Life Insurance Corporation, etc. So such type of companies are started by a special act, and who pass those special act? Central or state legislative. Here some examples are also given to you here. Then there are registered companies. These companies are incorporated under the Companies Act 2013 or any previous company law. So all those companies which started under Companies Act 2013 or any other previous law is known as registered company. Then there is on the basis of number of members. Here there are 3 types: private company, public company, one person company. Here number of members will determine the type of companies. So let's begin. First is private company. Private company means a company having a minimum paid up capital as may be prescribed, and which by its article first is restrict the right of members to transfer their shares if any, restrict the number of its members up to 200, prohibits any invitation to the public to subscribe or any securities or deposit of the company. All the above said conditions should be fulfilled for a company to be called a private company. If any one of the condition is not fulfilled by the company, it shall be considered as a public company. It must add the words private limited at the end of its name. A private company may be a company limited by shares or limited by guarantee or an unlimited company. So let's understand this part. So here the first thing is that a minimum paid up capital depends on the company law. Then there are certain restrictions. First is it informs that the members cannot transfer their shares if any, means they cannot sell their shares or securities. Second is that the maximum number is up to 200 only. You cannot have members more than 200. And third part is that such type of companies cannot invite general public for subscription of shares or securities or deposit of the company. They cannot give any type of invitation. Such companies, if they fulfill all three conditions, then they will be termed as private company. And at the end of all these companies, they have to write 2 words: private limited. We might have seen many companies which write XYZ private limited company. So such companies are private limited companies. Here the important points are this one: restrict 1, 2, and prohibits, means they do not allow. 3 points are quite important here. Then second part is public company. According to section 2 subsection 71, public company means a company that is not a private company. It means that all those conditions which were applied on private company will not be applied here. For example, a public company has no restriction on transfer of its share. So here you can transfer or sell your shares. Second is a minimum number of members should be 7. Minimum number should be 7 here. That we have to keep in mind. Has to have a minimum paid up share capital as may be prescribed by its articles. So as per the articles of association, such companies can have minimum paid up share capital. Fourth is does not prohibit any invitation or acceptance of deposits from the public. So here they can invite or they can accept the deposits which are coming from the public. Then next is one person company. According to section 2 subsection 62, A one-person company is a company that has only one person as a member. It is a private limited company and it has to fulfill and comply with all the formalities of the private company unless otherwise specified in the act or rules. So if one person is there in the company as a member, it is known as one person companies. Such companies will be private company only. So what are the rules, regulation or formalities of such companies? Same as private company, which we have seen in the first slide. But if there are something mentioned in acts or rules, then they have to follow such acts. The concept of one person company was introduced through the Companies Act 2013. It is operated by a single promoter who has limited liability, means his personal property will not be attached. It is a better form of business organization than sole proprietorship because the liabilities of the members are limited to the extent of his capital in the business. So why it is better than sole trading? Because what happens in sole trading, the liability is unlimited. If the sole trader is unable to pay his dues, even his personal property can be attached to pay the dues. But here it cannot be done like this because liability is limited. Person company can have one or more directors. There is no need to hold annual general meeting. So here there is no need to hold annual general meeting, means yearly meeting. There could be one or more directors also here. Then next is on the basis of liabilities of members. Here the first type is company limited by shares, then there is company limited by guarantee and unlimited liability company. So let's study one by one all these companies. The first is company limited by shares. Section 2 subsection 22. These types of companies have a share capital and the liability of each member is limited to the unpaid part of the face value of shares purchased by the member. So such companies will have share capital, means they will get their funds through share capital. People will purchase a share of that company and they will invest their money, and the liability of the members will be limited to the unpaid part of the face value of shares. It means that if the value of share is say rupees 100 and you have paid only rupees 90, so 10 rupees is pending, that 10 rupees will be your liability here. During the existence of the company or in the event of winding up, a member can be called upon to pay the unpaid remaining amount on the shares purchased by him or her. Now if the company wants the amount from the unpaid part of that face value, then company can demand the amount during the lifetime of the company or at the event of winding up, means when the business is being closed down or they are closing down their business activity. At that time company can demand the unpaid amount from the members or the shareholders. A company limited by shares may be a public company or a private company. There could be two types of company involved here, public or private. These are the most popular types of companies. Then next is company limited by guarantee. Section 2 subsection 21. These types of companies may or may not have a share capital. So they could have share capital and there may not be share capital also. There's a combination of both the parts here. Each member promises to pay a fixed sum of money specified in the memorandum in the event of liquidation of the company for the payment of debts and liabilities of the company. So here what happens, such type of companies can take guarantee or promise from their members that when the company closes down their business activity, or we can say in the event of liquidation, how much amount you can pay for clearing the debts or liability of the company. So when the members will give a certain promise or guarantee to the company, such companies are company limited by guarantee. Generally such companies are not profit making companies because they are formed for the purpose of promotion of art, science, culture, charity, sports or other similar purposes. Here the main objective of such companies is to provide services or promotion of various activities but not to earn profit. Then next is unlimited liability company. Section 2 of subsection 92. A company not having any limit on the liability of its members is termed as unlimited company. The members are fully liable to cover the debts of the company. The unlimited company can be either a private or a public company or a one-person private company. Now here what happens, the liability is unlimited. Means if the company is unable to pay their dues, the members are fully liable to pay the entire debt along with their personal properties also to clear the debts of the company. Then next is on the basis of control. Here the first is holding company. Section 2 subsection 46. A holding company is a company that holds more than one half of the total share capital of another company or has power to appoint or remove all or a majority of directors of another company. So here one company will have complete or one half of the control over the another company. Such companies are known as holding company. Holding companies have power to appoint, to remove or to change the majority of the directors involved in another company. Then there is subsidiary company. Section 2 subsection 87. A subsidiary company is just the opposite of a holding company. It is a company that is controlled by a holding company. Such control is possible because the holding company purchases more than one half of the share capital of the subsidiary company or has power to appoint or remove all or a majority of its directors. Let's take one example and understand if there are two companies, A company and B company. Now A company has the power over B company. A company is having more than one half of the total share capital of B company. A company also has the power to remove or appoint or to change the majority of the directors of B company. In such scenario, A company is holding company and B will be subsidiary company. B is controlled by A. So in such a way, this is known as holding company and subsidiary company. Then there are other types. First is government company. Section 2 subsection 45. Government company means any company in which not less than 51% of the paid up share capital is held by one is the central government or state government or governments, partly by central government and partly by one or more state governments, or subsidiary company of a government company. Now what happens, see, imagine if there is one company and in that company 51% of shares are held by government entities, then such type of companies are known as government company. It should not be less than 51%. If government holds 40% of shares and 60% of shares are held by private one, then it is not a government company. More than 51 should be there. Then a government company may be a private company or a public company. In fact, it is a company registered and incorporated under the Companies Act 2013. Now here some of the examples are given to you for government company. One is Hindustan Machine Tools Limited, Steel Authority of India Limited, Bharat Heavy Electrical Limited, Coal India Limited, Oil Natural Gas Corporation Limited, etc. Then there is foreign company. What do you mean by foreign company? All those companies which are incorporated outside India but having a place of business in India, like Nestle India, Bata India Limited, Whirlpool Corporation Limited, etc. All these are foreign companies but they are doing their activities in India also. Then there is dormant company. If a company is registered for a future project or has not made any significant accounting transactions in the last 2 years or has not filed financial statements or annual returns in the last 2 years after making an application under section 455 can be called as dormant company. So all those companies who are not having any transaction since last 2 years, they are not involved in any accounting transactions or any financial activities, such businesses or such companies are known as dormant company. Then there are listed company, section 2, subsection 52. Listed company means a company that has any of its securities listed on any recognized stock exchange. There are various stock exchange in our country like BSE, NSE. If your shares are listed on those stock exchanges, then your company will be regarded as listed company. A public limited company may be a listed company or an unlisted company. The listed companies will also have to follow SEBI's guidelines and the provisions of the Companies Act. So SEBI is Security Exchange Board of India. SEBI creates all the rules, regulations, guideline frameworks for all those companies who are listing their shares in stock market or stock exchanges. So all these companies need to work under SEBI's guidelines and by the provision of the Companies Act. Then there is small company. As per section 2 subsection 85 of the Act, a small company means a company other than a public company. Now there are certain conditions for small company. Let's see, the first part here is paid up share capital of which does not exceed rupees 50 lakh or such higher amount as may be prescribed. So the paid up capital should not be more than 50 lakh or any higher amount if it is prescribed in the articles, or turnover of which as per its last profit and loss account does not exceed rupees 2 crores or such higher amount as may be prescribed. Even the profit should not be of more than 2 crores or as prescribed by the articles. Then such companies may be regarded as small company. A private company, a one-person company, and a company other than a public company can be a small company. So all companies can be small company except public company. Section 2, subsection 6. An associate company is one over which another company exercises a significant degree of control which is less than the degree of control exercised over a subsidiary company. So such company will have influence over another company, but such company can not be a subsidiary company. Like A and B are two companies. A is having control over B, but B is not the subsidiary here. Then next is associate company in relation to another company means a company in which that other company has a significant influence but which is not a subsidiary. This we have seen in the previous part also. For this clause, significant influence means control of at least 20% of total capital or business decision under an agreement. Now there will be one agreement between both the companies. So there are two companies A and B. So A will be having at least 20% of the total capital of B, or business decision they can take, and why they can do all these activities due to an agreement. Then here the last one is company not for profit. Under section 8, such companies are registered. These are those companies which are not issued for the purpose of making profit but to provide services. Thank you so much.